Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Justin Davis from Drone Camps RC. I've been on YouTube for years and years covering DJI and other quadcopters around the world that get sent to us. Today we have something from DJI. This is the Phantom 4 Pro. It's an absolute legend out there in the industry right now. It is making waves across the world. All kinds of different people are using this for hobby purposes, for business purposes, for law enforcement, Army Corps of Engineers, and countless others around the world are using this particular quad for some amazing aerial video and photos. We are going to take a hands-on look at this, and we're going to give you a Drone Camp's opinion of this new Phantom 4 Pro. So here it is on the bench, and I'm going to talk about some specifics, mainly from my experience with DJI, and I'm going to tell you guys all the good stuff about the Phantom 4 Pro, and compared to the Phantom 4, the original Phantom 4 they released last year, which is already not supported by DJI. Kind of strange, but here we are in 2017, and there's no support for the Phantom 4. But moving on from that, this quad is an amazing feat of technology. Like I was telling you guys before in the first part of this video, they have crammed so much into this, and when you see it in person and you handle it for the first time, the feeling of this in your hand, it's absolutely solid product from end to end. It's absolutely amazing. Every single inch of this quad has been designed by the top drone engineers in the world. Absolutely amazing. There's so many features that I can get into and talk about. Some of the basic features that you're going to see right away that are going to be a major upgrade for the Phantom 4 Pro is the fact that you're running a mechanical shutter on this new camera here, and it's a 1-inch sensor. You're running 60 frames per second at 4K. That is an awesome frame rate for 4K. Who is this Phantom 4 Pro for? It's for somebody who wants to do aerial photography, either on the hobby level or on a professional level. If you're looking to use this for your fire department, you're looking to use it for search and rescue, it has up to a 4-mile range on this quadcopter. And the neatest thing about this also is that it has dual band light bridge. Now, the previous Phantom 4 did not have dual band light bridge. This one does, and you also can switch from 2.4 to 5.8. Why is that important and why is that necessary? Because if you're flying this Phantom 4 in a crowded urban area and you're getting a lot of interference, which usually doesn't happen too much with light bridge, you can actually go inside the app and you can change it from 5.8 to 2.4, and it'll scan various channels and find the best one, and it'll lock into that best channel for your video stream coming back to your device. Now, one of the other impressive things about the Phantom 4 Pro is the fact that it has 360-degree object avoidance. So you have sensors on this one now. You have these optical sensors in the front here. There's 2 little black dots. You have one on the side here, and you also have that infrared sensor here. You also have your optical sensors on the back. And then over here on this side, you also have an optical sensor and the infrared sensor over here on the right side of the quad. Now, looking at it from the very front, the camera itself is a little beefier than what we saw last year. It just looks a little more bulky, and that's mainly because it has that 1-inch sensor inside there. So now we're getting 20 megapixel stills on this one. The other one had 12 megapixel, I believe, and the gimbal lock on here looks close to the same as we had on the Phantom 4, very similar. And you have that 3-axis stabilization on here, so no matter how drunk you are when you're flying your quad, you still have smooth video. Now let's go ahead and set the Phantom 4 to the side for a second, and there's tons of features physically that I would show you on here a little more, but what do you get in the box? You get this Phantom 4 Pro. This is a quick start guide. It's all in English, of course, and the case looks pretty much the same as what we had before last year. This looks to be a little bit of a more durable foam than what we had previously. Looks a little more solid feeling. The latch is absolutely exactly the same. It's twist lock and turn in to lock it, and then you have the same rubberized grip handle on the bottom here. So let's go ahead and open it up, and we'll pull out the controller. The controller is pretty much the same as last year. It's very similar. You've got your C1 and C2 buttons on the back here. Those are programmable. You've got your light bridge antennas here that pop up. You've got a lot of the same buttons on here. There's a new button on here for taking photos that does you push it halfway down and it focuses. So that's a tip for you guys if you're looking to get one of these. If you're going to do a photo or start recording video, you can push halfway down and it'll focus. Or you can tap on the screen in the app and do the focus. Now this one turns on the same way that previous DJI products does. Press once and hold 3 seconds. Press once real quick and hold 3 seconds and it turns on. Press once again, hold it 3 seconds and turn off. 1, 2, you do it really quickly. So return to home button there, up on the very top. You also have that pause button here, and that's for pausing in flight. If you have a situation where you need to pause it, you can actually pause it and the quad will stop where it's moving and stay and hold that position. That's pretty neat. And you also have your aperture wheel here on this side and your gimbal wheel on this side, up and down. And this little button right here, it goes from P, S to A. P is your positioning, your GPS mode, and S is going to be sport mode, and A is going to put it in non-GPS mode, which we call ADI. And we'll talk about more of those features a little bit later in some of our other videos coming up. We'll do a video for your first day with your Phantom 4. We'll tell you about all these features in the app as well. Now, this one doesn't come with the HDMI out on this one. It only has USB, and it has this Android port here, this micro USB port. Now, what would be nice is if it came with HDMI out. I would love to have that, but it's a $99 upgrade that you can do yourself. It's pretty easy. The Phantom 4 Plus, Pro Plus, actually comes with a built-in monitor, and it does, I believe, come with HDMI. So if you're looking for HDMI out, if you want to use a large external monitor, you can get that Plus version. So now this is what the Phantom 4 Pro looks like in the box when you get it. This is everything you get for the regular version of the Phantom 4 Pro. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and show you the rest of the stuff in the box. Here's all of your quick start guides and your user manual in here. Some of the disclaimers from DJI. And we won't go through those too much. We'll just go ahead and rip right into this box. I noticed that this time around they did this silver bag, and that's kind of cool. Last year it was a black bag, I believe. And you get 2 sets of props on here, and these are the differently designed props. These are the spin down and lock, twist lock propellers. Not like the 9450s that we had before that spun down. Some of those customers were complaining that they actually spin off during flight, so that was kind of a problem. But they come with these nice little plastic covers on them so that you know they're brand new and they haven't been used. I have flown 1 set of them already, but really nice that they give you 2 pairs, 2 sets. Now this is the little compartment that I was talking about. If you remove this, you have 2 extra spots for your batteries in here, which is kind of nice. So I can get 1, 2, 3 batteries in this box if I put one inside the quad for traveling. Now back here in this little compartment back here, we have USB connector for connecting your device to update your Phantom or your controller. And also we have an Android style cable. This is that little micro USB cable here for connecting to the quad. If you have an Android phone, you can use this in conjunction with the transmitter, because you have to plug this into the back of the transmitter and this part into the phone so that you get a solid connection from Lightbridge, streaming that video straight to your phone. Now I have heard some other guys, some other reviewers saying that the Android phones crash quite a bit, and I watched a friend of mine's review online of this Phantom 4 Pro, and it was crashing continuously on his Android phone. So for our demos, I'm going to use the iPhone 6 Plus so that we don't have any problems during our demos. Now also in the box you have a pretty sweet charger here, and this charger has a dual purpose for it. It charges the transmitter and it charges your battery. The battery that comes along with the Phantom 4 Pro is actually pretty sweet. They've upgraded that battery, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But the end of this plugs in right here, and this is the US style adapter for AC outlets, so I'm good to go there. And I can start charging my battery or my controller from either of these. This one's for the radio and this one is for the battery. You can charge them both at once. The radio takes about 3 hours to charge up the battery inside there, and the battery for the quad itself takes around an hour. So this is the Phantom 4 Pro intelligent flight battery that comes along with this quad, and it is an intelligent flight battery. If you're new to this, the reason they call it an intelligent battery is because it has a strip right across the top there that tells you information on the battery. If you press this little button on the very top right here, press it once, it'll show you the percentage of battery charge that's currently in the battery. If you're flying, it'll also show you all four lit up when you have a total charge on here. So 100%, 75%, 50%, and 25%. So if you get down to that last one and it's blinking, it's time to land the quad immediately. Now, judging from its appearance, it looks exactly like the Phantom 4 battery, the original Phantom 4 battery, and actually you can fly the Phantom 4 batteries on the new Phantom 4 Pro. They are interchangeable, but this is going to be the 30-minute battery. Like I say, fly it 20% less than that to save the longevity of this battery, because you're going to get a much longer usable battery, and you're going to take care of the cells inside here. This one also does have that vented cooling in here to keep the battery nice and cool while you're flying it. You don't want this battery to overheat. One of the big tips that I can give you for flying in the hotter days during the summer coming up, spring is coming, I swear it is, be sure not to fly back to back to back to back. If you're flying in a really hot environment, say it's 90 degrees plus, fly a battery, let your Phantom cool off for say 5 or 10 minutes if you can stand it, and then put a fresh battery in there and fly it again, because you don't want the system to overheat on your Phantom 4 Plus, your Phantom 4 Pro. Very, very important, because I've seen them actually drop out of the air because they got too hot and overheated, and that would be a very bad result for your Phantom 4 Pro. So this intelligent flight battery is a 4S battery, and it's 5.2 volts. It's 5870 milliamp. This one's upgraded from the original Phantom 4 battery to give us that 30-minute flight time, just about 500 more milliamps inside this battery. And if you know how to charge your cell phone, you can pretty much charge a Phantom 4 Pro battery. It's very, very simple. Just take this little lead right here. You have these little connectors over here, and you want to just simply push it straight into the battery and make sure the other end's plugged into the wall outlet, and you'll see it start to do this. And now you know you have a charge situation happening. When it gets all the way to the top, it'll actually stop and go out, and it'll be done. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at this motor up close, and you can see, just like the Phantom 4, the original Phantom 4, there's motor vents on the very bottom, and that's important to keep all of this up inside this motor cool, because you want to have some ventilation up inside this electric motor. Electric motors do fail, by the way, so the bad side of this quad is that it is a quad. It is 4 motors, and it doesn't have any motor redundancy on this quad. If it was a hexacopter and it had 5 motor mode like the Typhoon H has, if you had a system failure on one arm, the other arms would take over and fly the quad back to the ground. But in this case, since we have a quadcopter, meaning we have 4 rotors, that if one fails, the whole quad's going down to the ground, straight down. So very important that they put vents inside this motor base right here. You also have LEDs underneath here on each side. So I flipped the Phantom over so you can see the bottom of this arm and kind of a close-up detail of that. They put the LEDs out here on the end, where the LEDs used to be on the older Phantom series. They used to be here, but this is pretty smart because they realized that this mainframe up inside here, the IMU and all the components inside here, need proper venting, and that helps with cooling on those hotter days like I was talking about before. So now you're looking at the back of the quad, and we have our optical flow sensors here, and this provides for navigation indoors. If you're wanting to fly indoors and you want it to maintain a hover without the assistance of GPS, that's what these sensors do. They actually see the ground, they send a signal out and back to the quad. Now you're looking at the side of the quad, and you see this infrared sensor here. This has 20 degrees to 7 degrees field of view for sensing things from the side of the quad. So that's actually really important if you're flying through narrow spaces, or you're flying through something like a window. It's going to actually see an object over on this side, and it'll fly away from it, as well as redundancy on the other side. So this is the first DJI quad to use infrared sensors. Now it's pretty cool because this quad actually has 5 direction sensors on it now. We have 2 in the front here. We have the infrared sensors on the side. We have 2 in the rear back here. Those are optical sensors. And then we have another infrared sensor on the side over here on this side. Now, it also has another feature. It's called narrow mode. You can change the mode on here to sense narrow obstacles in a narrow field of view. So if you're going through some smaller scale environment, say you're flying through a window like I was saying before, you can change the field of view for the optical system, and that's pretty neat. Now in the standard mode, it will do up to 31 miles an hour and avoid objects along the way. Now you're looking at it from the left side of the quad here, and right here we have that micro USB port right here, and you have your micro SD card slot right here. And I'll go ahead and take that card out for you, and I'll show you what brand that card is. Let's see. And that is actually a Sony 16 gigabyte card that comes along with it. So that's pretty nice. They give you a 16 gig. I believe it's upgradable to 64 gigs for this particular quad. And right now you're probably looking at the weakest link to this entire quad design. I've been complaining about this for years, and I really wish they would do something about this. The infamous ribbon cable. This exposed ribbon cable that runs on the outside of the gimbal arms. For years and years, this has caused DJI customers problems, because when they go in for a light or mild crash and they get near any branches or anything that's going to grab onto this cable, it is very easy to shear this cable and completely destroy it. Now, some of you have bought some of these ribbon cables online on eBay or other places, and you replace it yourself, but it's not an easy task to do that. A lot of guys I know have sent them back to the factory, and they've had to have this repaired by DJI themselves. So it's a long waiting process if you have to send something back to DJI. So be very careful with this. There's nothing we can really do to cover it up. What is done on this model, but it's exposed in a variety of different angles on this quad. So look at this right from below. If you come in and snag it on something from below, you're going to hit it. You're going to hit it from the side here. And it's actually exposed on this other side as well here. So, and there's nothing holding it or supporting it right here on this side. Now right here you have an aerial view of the top of the motor, and this is the system that they designed for the Phantom 4, new to that series, and it's actually really good. I really recommend this over the older style 9450s that screwed down on top of it. Kind of the motor spun in their different direction to keep it tight on the motor. Had some problems with those designs because sometimes if you got some kickback, those old props would actually fly off. So DJI did a workaround for that, and they completely redesigned the Phantom 4 Pro series and Phantom 4 series to a new style connector. And this is very genius because not only is it color-coded and labeled, it also has a twist lock feature on it. So look on the very top of this motor, you see the black dots here. That one corresponds with the black prop here. And we'll just go ahead and it's spring loaded, so there's a little tiny spring on this stem right here. We twist it and then we push it down. You feel that spring there, it's nice and springy. So push it down and twist it to the left, and it pops back up and locks into place. Now when you're putting these on, you want to be sure that you pull up on it so it doesn't come back off, and you move it side to side to make sure that it's not going to come back and fall off. So that prop is ready to fly. And to take them back off is just as easy. You just push down on it and twist, and it comes right off. Pretty easy. I like these props a lot. So that's enough bench talk. You know what, you guys, let's go outside and fly this. I took this to a local FPV racing track the other day, and I flew it with some friends of mine. I am an FPV pilot as well, but these guys were interested to see this because of all the tech DJI has packed into it. I wasn't embarrassed of this fluffy pillow Phantom around my FPV racer buddies. They actually thought it was really cool and really neat. Some of them had never flown a quad with GPS on board as well, so that was neat for them to experience what a drone flies like with GPS, because just about anybody can fly these. That's the amazing thing about it versus something like a racer quad that has, like if you're flying an acro with no stabilization whatsoever. It takes a lot of practice to learn how to do that. Now, if you show up with this at an FPV track, make sure that you switch it over to 2.4 on the video. You can go inside the app and you can switch it from 5.8 to 2.4. Very important, because a lot of these guys that are flying quads, the FPV racers, they run 5.8 video. Most of them do. So you're going to be interfering with some of their video feed. At least that's what a few of them were saying when we did fire this up for the first time.
make sure everybody's on the ground, let them know you're going to fly your Phantom, and coordinate with people. But I was able to switch over to 2.4 and fly off the end of the other parking lot to make sure that I wasn't in their way or flying directly over their track while they were having a race. So very important, if you're a Phantom guy, be sure to talk to people at the field. So with that out of the way, guys, let's go outside and let's show you some of those different flight feature modes, and I'll show you how awesome this video footage looks from this camera. Also, guys, be sure to subscribe on the channel because I'm going to do some really awesome tutorials for this Phantom 4 Pro. You're going to get to see all kinds of cool drone camps tutorials on this one this year.
First time he's ever flown a Phantom.